gonna look familiar. This is perfect. Today.
What are you doing on my boat? That's my boat.
I'll see you in the bottom while you're drinking sangria.
Nachos, lemon heads, my dad's boat. You won't go down cause my dick can blow.
We sail around the world and go port to port. Every time I come, I produce a quart.
That is offensive. Helen, Yale.
Deadliest catch without the crabs. We're almost out of gas. Call the A-Rab.
Pull off the anchor cause we're leaving dry land. Get the load back with a tick in your hand. Are you ready for some world-class vocalization?
Yeah, partner.
Yo, Brandon, break him up a little.
Who's steering the boat?
Dad, please shut up. Please shut up.
You tuned in to the Iceman Show. I'm your host, the Iceman. Boats and hoes, boats and hoes. I gotta have me more boats and hoes. More bounce to the ounce that I say what counts. Don't nobody go home to the fat man fucks. What's happening, chocolate people? It's the Iceman, aka Sub-Zero, aka Mr. Fucks a Lot, aka Mr. Funkadelic. You know, brothers, we got to get out of the mentality of boats and hoes. You never know, or you're never informed about how bad you look in the social marketplace in America or internationally until you get feedback from people who don't look like you, from non-black people. And it's an eye-opening experience to get the feedback from those folks, and it gives you a perspective. And I'll give you an example of that. I was talking to some brothers, and we got into a conversation about dating non-black women. And most of the brothers were talking bullshit. Most of them were, everything was pussy this, pussy that. And me and another couple of guys got to what was real and broke it down to these ignorant, successful black men. And what the conclusion we came to was this: that the only reason why Asian, Hispanic, or Caucasian women even mess around with black men is because we're a bunch of clowns and they know they can get a free lifestyle upgrade out of us, and at the least they can get free mimosas, free strawberry lemonade, and free lunches and dinners out of us. And when that was proposed to the group, the simps and the tricks that were sitting there changed their tune. And from that point, that was a slap in the face to them, because they didn't have anything to say for a few minutes. They really didn't. They didn't have nothing to say, because their bullshit got thrown in their faces. And we came to the conclusion, they came to the conclusion that we're not the viable option that we thought we were, or they thought they were. And one of the brothers, one of the simps, had enough sense to ask, well, why, how come you guys feel, how come that is? Why is it that even though we've gone out here and become successful in business on our own, or we've become successful in corporate America, why is it that we're seen as the last option? And I said, because of where you appear on the social food chain. Technically, you're at the bottom. No matter how many degrees you have, no matter how many basketballs you can slam dunk for $2 million a year, or how many baseballs you can hit out of the park for $3 million a year, or whether you can be the starting quarterback for an NFL team, you're still at the bottom of the social food chain. So these same Asian, Caucasian, and Hispanic women don't even want to fuck with you until you get paid, or they think you paid. If you walk running around here, the $30,000 millionaire running around here in a brand new $75,000 Lexus, okay? That shiny new automobile is going to attract them, but it's not going to keep them around once they figure out that, you're only good for a couple free dinners and drinks, and now you don't have any money because you got to finance keeping the front going. You got to, pay that car note. You got to pay that insurance. So now you run up your credit cards and, you basically show her you don't really have any money. So in essence, basically, if we're looking at this objectively, the black man is viewed as a clown and a buffoon. And we're viewed as clowns and fools because we're willing to give all of our energies and our skills and our talents to Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, and in some cases the NHL for free. We give all of our talents and our skills, and we ask for nothing in return but a meager salary. To the average young black man and young black woman in the hood, they look at LeBron James and they say he's a beast, or he's a god. He's the man. But what they're not taught to look at, and let me pause for a second. All they're looking at is LeBron James's salary. What they're not looking at is the man who owns the Miami Heat, who's writing the checks that pay LeBron James's salary. That's what they're not looking at, because their baby mama mama, their mother, is ignorant, and she has not taught them about riches versus wealth. LeBron James is rich. The white dude who owns the Miami Heat is wealthy. And so what these young black girls and black boys are learning is that they're looking at LeBron James and saying, okay, well, if he's making $20 million a year plus endorsements, he might be making more of that, but I haven't gone to hoophipes.com and looked at his salary in a while. But let's just say, for purposes of making this video, let's just say LeBron James makes $20 million a year. Or he made $20 million this particular season, plus endorsements. The average black girl and black boy is sitting here thinking, wow, LeBron James is the man. He's a guy. But I think the tragedy is the fact that these young black girls and black boys don't want to be the white dude who owns the Miami Heat. Or they don't believe they can be the owner of the Miami Heat. Most black men and women don't believe they can be the supervisor in their department at work. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a problem. This is a problem. You have to believe, whether you're black, white, or Jew, or Gentile, you have to believe that you can achieve something. If you don't believe that, it will never fucking happen. You can have all the intelligence and the wherewithal for a million years. But if you don't have the self-confidence to take one foot and put it in front of the other and sit down and make a strategy on how you plan on moving from working for somebody else to owning your own business, then all that intelligence and skill that God gave you is a waste. It's a fucking waste. And you look like a clown, and I look like a clown. So the question must be asked, what does the black man and the black woman look like, or what is our present status in the social marketplace? What is the answer to that question? The answer is you are viewed as nothing. Not because as far as being a human being, you are nothing. Let's distinguish where we're going here. You're viewed as nothing by your conduct. You're viewed as a useless piece of shit because you come out of your mother's womb and you don't develop into anything that is of use to you and your own people. And when non-black people see that, they either do one of two things. They line up to kick you in your ass, or they get in the other line to exploit you. And at the end of the day, everybody is calling you and me nigger. We're providing our talents, our skills, and our resources to people who don't look like us for free. And none of that money that we're expending That we're all this consumer whoreism where black people are spending 97% of all their income outside the black community comes back to bite us on the ass in the end. I just made a video yesterday for the paid subscribers entitled Boats and Hoes. And I talk about this stuff. But you have to understand something. The whole dating dynamic is based on economics. And when women go out here and feel the need to date somebody, women have some very basic needs. They want to feel physically safe around you. They want to feel that financially, if we get into a relationship and we have children, can you financially provide for not only our children and provide a safe and stable home for our children as well as me, your wife, and for you, lastly. That is the situation under normal circumstances that arise between males and females in America. The problem is it's not that simple. Because if a woman is older and she has children by other men and she steps to you with that same tired storyline, you're not going to treat her with the same respect as you would a woman who doesn't have any children, has her own job, has her own place to stay, and she's responsible. You're not going to treat those two women the same way. I wouldn't. Because you have to understand something. Whether a single moms want to admit this or not, you are at the bottom of the food chain in respect to women. Because normal males in America, just hard-working blue-collar guys, it doesn't matter whether you're blue-collar or white-collar. Men are going to try to get the most value and most bang for their buck. And if they had to choose between a single mom with 2 kids by other men versus a woman who has no children at all, and she's not asking for any monetary benefit to deal with you, who the hell you think he gonna choose? The smart guy is gonna choose the woman who has no baggage, who has no children by all these different men. Now, whether this woman had children through jump-off situations, casual sex, or whether she had these babies when she was married and got divorced, or she was living with a guy for 8 years. Men don't care about that, and we shouldn't care about that. We don't care how those children came to be. All we know is that you're sitting in front of us trying to sell your bullshit, and you're trying to sell your single mother bullshit situation to us, and you're trying to impress upon us that it makes sense socially and financially to invest time, effort, and money into a single mom situation with this woman. And the only men who are going to subscribe and co-sign on that kind of stupid shit is simps and tricks. Because simps and tricks want something in return, which is access to soggy old vagina. And you have to understand, simps and tricks have very low self-esteem, very low or no self-worth, and no dignity. So it doesn't matter if a simp or a trick dates a single mom. That's why when they get with these beat up whores, they start right off the bat whining and dining and tricking off their money with single moms because they know that a woman who has no children and no baggage, and she's a career-minded woman, she's gonna think something is wrong with this guy if he starts off the first date spending money on him. 9 times out of 10, she's probably had a father in her life, whereas the single mom probably has no father or very little contact with a father figure. So that career woman, that single woman who doesn't have any shoes, smart enough not to become a single mom, she knows bullshit when she sees it, and she's willing to call bullshit. This guy is covering up for some insecurities and some mental and physical deficiencies, or he's covering up for the fact that he is a undercover criminal. And he's trying to get me used to the lifestyle so that I won't question the fact that how is it that he's got $1 million house, $200,000 cars, and I've never seen him go to a job. I've never seen him say anything about going to work anywhere. Single moms don't care. And these simps and tricks know that. So that's why they start off buying strawberry lemonade and shrimp scampi. Because they know single moms are desperate to feel like somebody is financially responsible for them and some other man's children. So that's why you see these broken down single moms on shows like Cheaters, and the first thing they say is what? Everything was great, and he started off buying me stuff and taking care of my kids that ain't his, and he was taking me out to dinner all the time, and now, 3 months later, now he don't even want to have sex with me. Well, he's doing exactly what he meant to do when he first met you. Get you used to going out to dinner all the time and going to the movie and somebody splurging on her because he's covering up for the fact that he's probably doing this to 2 or 3 other women. That's how you see ugly simps and tricks with fine ass women. Because 9 times out of 10, these fine ass women are baby moms and they're single moms. Okay? But it pains me and it angers me to see how non-black women will only be interested in black men like us if we bald, or we highly educated like I am, or like some of you, or you got your own business. As a matter of fact, a brother sent me an email and said, Ice, I'm inspired. I have a landscaping business, and the competition is fierce in my city. It's fierce because I got nothing. It's nothing. All I have working for me are mostly brothers, and I got a couple Hispanic dudes that work for me that I've known for years. I don't have no wetbacks working for me, but it's fierce. The competition is fierce because I have to go up against immigrant Hispanic guys who charge way less than I do, but may not give the same level of customer service and service. So I charge a little more than they do. And then I have the white companies, the white landscaping companies who may charge the same amount or more, but they got the skin color thing working for them, as well as their whole staff is undocumented immigrants. But he said, I hear what you're saying, Ice, when you talk about being competitive, being a competitive businessman. He was like, Ice, I hear what you're saying. And I'm just like you. I am going to find a way to compete. I'm not going to go out of business. I just may have to work a little harder than these other businesses. But I refuse to go down because of ignorance. And this guy has been in business for about 6 years. So he obviously knows what he's doing. But he was like, Ice, you got a point. Black men and women need to be competitive. And we're not being competitive. So the black men and women, let's just stick with the black men for right now. That's why when black men like you and me, Ice, rise to the top above the Dusty Brothers, these non-black women, they've been wanting to get with some black men anyway, but they're not going to get with average brothers. They're going to get the cream of the crop brother. And it's just like I said it on the paid subscriber video of Boats and Hoes. Let's take the brother that works in customer service. This guy could be you. He makes $15 an hour. He's been there 3 years. Everybody, all the women on his team and in his department know how much money he makes. They know he makes $15 an hour. The only women who speak to him are the average looking black women that work there. All the even average looking white girls to pretty white girls, none of them speak to him. Oh, he's just a nigger. I don't speak to him. Now he might get a little play from some of the Hispanic women, because most of the Hispanic women, they just happy to have a job. They're happy to be there. They're tickled to death to be there. But those white and Asian women are not going to give him the time of day. But let's just say 2 years from now, he finishes his bachelor's degree and he bids on a customer service manager position, operations manager position that requires a bachelor's degree at the least. He applies, gets the job. He goes from making $35,000 to $85,000, and he receives quarterly bonuses that may bump him up to $100,000. He goes from driving a '97 Camry to driving a brand new 3 Series high-end, fully loaded BMW that's got aftermarket products inside and out. Rims and tires, everything. Bose system. After everything's said and done and the salesman's written up all the paperwork, that car is going to cost him $47,000. He pulls up in the parking lot. People see him driving up. Next thing you know, in the break room, all the white women that called him nigger 2 years ago, all the Asian women who called him nigger and said he wasn't good enough, all of a sudden they're, hi, my name's Sandy. I heard you got the new customer service operations manager position. Hi, I'm Sandy. I work in accounting. Hi, I'm Gretchen. I work in human resources. He walked past those same women 2 years ago, and they didn't even acknowledge his presence. As a matter of fact, getting into the elevator to go up to their respective floors where they work, these women had the nerve to grab their purses and call him nigger in their own minds. Now all of a sudden he ain't a nigger because he's making $100,000 a year. Do y'all see where I'm going with this? This is why black men need to wake the hell up. If nobody else needs to wake up and realize that our lack of leadership and responsibility is responsible for this kind of response from non-black people. Now, to all my critics who are going to say, ICE, you're focusing on the wrong thing here. Why do you care what these people think? I never once said I cared what those people think. But I do care about negative feedback that paints a very big picture of what people think of us. Because they don't say the same things about white and in some cases Hispanic men or Asian men like they do about black men, even when it's not true. There are so many lies and myths out here about black men that are not true or accurate. Logician 3 sent me a link to an LA Times article. I want you to look for this article. It says that black men are more engaged. No, it's not the LA Times. Forgive me. It's another article, but it's through an online publication. It's not the LA Times. But there is an LA Times article that I'm going to share in a video in the near future that the Logician 3 sent me. That was very disturbing. But I'll get into that after I explain go ahead and go forward with my thought here. The article stated that black men were more hands-on and engaged with their babies, with their children as babies than any other racial group. Can you believe that? And actually, I believe it because I was hands-on with all of my children. Every last one of my kids, I changed diapers, I fed them, I got up in the middle of the night and changed their diapers. I also fed them. I got up and warmed up milk while my ex-wife laid there asleep. So I'm not surprised that black men rate higher than all the other groups of men in terms of engagement and involvement with their children. But I guarantee you will never see this article or hear reference to this article on television. This is why black men need to continue to dialogue with each other instead of arguing with each other. Because this kind of information needs to get out. When I find the link to this article, I will put it in the description section of this video. I may not get to it today, but I will put the link in there so that you can copy and paste it and go and read it. Because it's an inspiring article. And it was not written by black people. I don't think. Now I stand corrected. Logician 3, if I made a mistake on that, please correct me. But they are sitting up here saying that black men are the most engaged with their children. Yet we get all this negative press. The only way to quell all this negativity and vitriol that's cast upon black men is for us to get together and start businesses and lead. So that we can create jobs for black women and black children when they come of age. The reason why our children have the highest unemployment rate is because there are no black businesses for these young men and women to get employed and be mentored. Magic Johnson can't provide jobs to all black people, and neither can Robert Johnson or Kathy Hughes or Oprah Winfrey. Why is the burden of carrying black men and black women on the backs of a handful of black people? That's not fair to them, and it's not fair to you. Do they have a responsibility to the rest of us? That depends on who you talk to. I'm not sitting around waiting on Magic Johnson to do a goddamn thing for me. The person who should be doing something for the Iceman is the Iceman. Same as for you. White males or Caucasian males and Hispanic males have higher conviction, arrest, indictment, and conviction and incarceration rates for sexual exploitation of children, rape of children, molestation of children, than black men across the board. It is a known fact that in white and Hispanic neighborhoods, white and Hispanic males messing around and playing with little boys and little girls' booty holes and genitalia is a serious problem in their communities. But have you ever turned on HLN, CNN, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, or CBS News and seen a piece on their networks that formally and accurately indicted white and Hispanic males on their preying upon raping and molesting children? No. But yet the white woman at the neighborhood park is corralling her kids around as soon as she sees one black man who may quite possibly be there with his own children. But this sorry ass white woman, it has the nerve to have fear of this black man because the media said so. She has the nerve to be concerned about this black man being in proximity. Say he's running down the trail, the walking trail, trying to get his exercise. And he just happens to run past the monkey bars where this woman's children are. And she's running over there trying to act like this black man is going to do something to her children. Yet the sex offender white dude or Hispanic dude who's sitting at the park, at this same park, wearing shades, casing the whole park and all the children in it, and this bitch, not one time has she cast her eyes upon this guy's appearance and said, this looks suspicious. This guy looks suspicious. This white dude sitting here looks suspicious. He has no children. He's not even dressed like a parent, and he has no reason to be here. But I'm not concerned about him because he's white. I'm only concerned about the black guy that didn't even look in my kid's direction, who's running down the trail past playground. Or the black guy who's playing with his kids and his dog. He ain't even paying you no mind. But yet you sitting up here checking your purse and seeing if, if the black guy stole your pocketbook out your purse, and he ain't walked nowhere near this white woman. But yet if you look at the crime statistics, white males and Hispanic males are 50 times more likely to be arrested for sex crimes against children than black men. But you don't see any of these television programs or these news services sitting up here demonizing white and Hispanic males for the nasty shit they do to children on a daily basis. I'm not saying that there aren't black men who don't do the same thing. That's not my point. What I'm saying is that for the media to sit up here and purport lies and distribute lies that black men overwhelmingly are raping and molesting children is not fair. And where is the black news service and media outlet that is disputing all this shit? That's where the problem is. Instead of you and I creating our own news service and telling the truth about black men and black women, we want to be on some Christian religious dumb shit. And we want to go down to CNN and picket and march and complain that they don't have any black anchors on any of their news programs, instead of taking our money and starting our own shit. We want to sit up here and integrate and force and guilt the white man into hiring one of our own. And when he gets tired of us suing him and complaining, and the NAACP and the Rainbow Coalition talking shit and marching, and when they do finally say, okay, we're going to hire a black person, and they hire one of us, who do they go out there and get? They go out there and get a Lester Holt type. They go out there and get an Aunt Jemima type who's going to sit there and shut up and huck a buck and cater to the white audiences. That's who they're going to get. They're not going to get no revolutionary OG like the Iceman, and they're not going to get you who's going to get up there and tell the white man to go fuck himself. They're not going to get either one of us. What they're going to do is get Lester Holt and Aunt Jemima to get up there and be a sellout. Now they have put a black face on the same old racism and white supremacy. And they know that these two huckabucket Negroes are happy to make the high salary that they're making in exchange for their dignity and self-respect. Now you're getting the picture of why you as a black person are at the bottom of the food chain. If you look at, let's just look at Hispanics for a second. They got Telemundo, which is, okay. Univision is owned by NBC Universal. So we can't even mention them. But Telemundo and a couple other, I used to know all of the Hispanic television stations because I used to watch it when they had programming that was interesting to me. And even though at that time my Spanish was a lot better and I understood everything they were saying, I still didn't watch unless there was something that was interesting to me, which usually had something to do with some women. Okay? Because they women be looking sexy as hell and they always wearing tight shit. I love the fact that they play into that shit. Okay? But when they cut out all those programs, I stopped watching. But I do notice that some of these television stations, not all of them are nationwide. Some of them are just on the West Coast and in the Southwest, and that's it. They're not outside any of these other markets. But there are some that are nationwide. And they're still Latino owned. The only station we owned that was all black was BET, and look what kind of programming we were offered. We were offered coonery and buffoonery on a daily basis. And black people 30 years old and beyond tuned the channel. Black people with some fucking sense who weren't ghetto and hood radish and ratchety, they turned the channel. They didn't want to look at BET. Who the hell wants to look at music videos all day and other old useless programming? That Mary Jane show was a joke. The Game, that show was a joke. It didn't start off that way, but it morphed into that. And the main people who are watching that garbage are single unemployed moms who are on welfare and SNAP benefits. Nobody with any sense is watching that shit. I've received a lot of feedback over the years from paid subscribers and unpaid subscribers. And most of it has been totally disrespectful. Mainly because they have come upon my show, heard something they like, and they listened until the Iceman said something that stepped on their toes. And next thing you know, I'm getting an email talking about Iceman, fuck you, you ain't shit, you old nigga. Okay? I hope you take a long walk on a short pier. I hope you put a knife, take a knife and put it on the counter and walk into it. Okay? I've gotten all those kind of emails. Hey, Iceman, kill yourself. Okay? Fuck you, Iceman. Talking about single mom. My mama was a single mom. Fuck you, man. I got all those emails. And most of them I laughed at them. But there were some emails that I received, past and present, that made me think. Now, I'm not going to reveal some of these individuals' usernames because that would be disrespectful. But I will share with you, and I'll paraphrase the exchange between me and this former non-paid and former paid subscriber. And there's a particular individuals who sent me messages who said, Ice, the tone of the Iceman show has changed over the past few months. And it has turned from being revolutionary and cutting edge and informational to being accusatory, combative, evil in some respects, and having a lack of focus. Now, objectively, that may or may not be true. But let me explain something to you. The Iceman Show came into being by accident. This wasn't anything I planned. This wasn't something I planned. This is something that actually evolved out of me just sitting there doing basic videos. I wasn't trying to, build a following of people listening to me. I was just basically blowing off steam. The first few videos I made talked about some social issues, but a lot of it had to do with me being in school. And what it evolved to was what you're hearing and seeing today. Now, my inexperience is noted in the lack of direction or the perceived lack of direction that the show has been going in. And if the show has taken a negative turn, and you as a listener, whether paid or non-paid, have come to the conclusion that you're not getting the sustenance that you were able to get from the Iceman Show 2-3 years ago, then that's a change I need to make as the host of the Iceman Show. And I appreciate all of you who have made constructive criticism. I appreciate your feedback. So what we're going to do today, because I've gotten down in the sewer with people and I've argued with people, because usually the first thing is what I used to do is just read these negative emails. And if they were comical, I would read them on the show. But then I would get these very negative emails that try to attack me personally and try to attack my character. And yeah, those emails I took literally, and I jumped down in the sewer with these people. Here's where there's a problem with that. I consider myself to be a leader, whether you do or not. I lead people on a daily basis. I'm an employer, a very small one, but nevertheless, I own a business that employs people. So I am a leader. My job as a leader is to lead those who have come to me for leadership. It is my job to provide leadership even when I don't feel like it, which is sometimes half the time. I am not leading when I jump down in the sewer and start arguing over dumb shit with listeners of the Iceman Show who are disgruntled for whatever reason. Now, whether or not the content of my show isn't to your liking is not important, because this show has a standard that it's going to bear every day. And I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to change the focus of the Iceman Show, which is to move black men and women and children forward through having dialogue. That's not going to change, ladies and gentlemen. The negative tone will. You, the listener or listeners, have spoken and I have heard you. We're not going to go backwards. We're going to go forward. So I refuse to spend time beating up on people who don't want to move forward. Because when I jump down in the sewer and argue with this former subscriber the way I did, that shows my lack of maturity. That shows my lack of maturity and intelligence. Because this brother or brothers are screaming out for leadership and information, and I'm jumping down in the sewer with them. I'm not saying literally in the sewer. I'm saying our conversation and our interaction is in the sewer. Because he's personally attacking me, and I'm personally attacking him. And you have to ask the question, is that moving us forward? The answer is no. He's not getting anything out of it, and I'm not getting anything out of it. So we both look like fools. So from now on, I am not going to address any of you who make a purposeful character assassination of me as a man. Now, if you criticize the show and there's objective merit, then I will listen and make the proper adjustments. What I'm not going to do is stop going in on black people who are holding all the rest of us back. You're not going to find a safe haven on the Iceman show where you can be a bum-ass nigga or a bum-ass single mom and sit up here and hold on to the coattails of the Iceman show family members who are moving forward and trying to do something. You are no longer going to hold on to us and hide in plain sight without getting your ass kicked. It's not going to happen. Not anymore. If you've gotten this far, I guarantee from today on, you will not go forward with us. And you go take your ass on and go listen to Tariq Nasheed. You can go listen to the Black Authority. You can go over here and listen to Tom Likens. I don't give a fuck who you listen to. Look, let me explain something to you. You don't have to listen to me. But don't sit here and pay for a subscription or not pay for one. Listen to my show. Get assholish because I said something to you that you didn't like. Because I called you out and said, brother, sister, let's move forward. Let's stop the bullshit. Let's stop the black on black violence. Let's stop black men from shitting on each other and being violent toward each other and killing each other and selling drugs to each other. You'd be surprised how many black men and women get mad and angry when you got black men and women who call these bum ass niggas out on their bullshit. You'd be surprised how many black people get angry when their bullshit status quo nonsense gets called out. They don't want it to be called out. They want to be able to hide under the surface or hide in plain sight and continue to be a whore and a consumer whore and be a video villain and go out here and make all these other people rich. But then sit here and demonize black business owners like me. Or demonize the Iceman show. Or demonize the message. The message has not changed. Maybe the method has. But the message has not been changed. Because even 2 years ago when I was doing more comedy, the same nitwits were complaining. I'm not talking about the same listeners, but the same type of people who are griping and complaining and whining were whining about the same stuff 2 years ago. And I was doing comedy back then. So what does that say about the listener? What does that say about the listener more than it says about me, the host of the Iceman Show? It says a lot more about their thinking than it does mine. Because 2 years ago, when we were doing more comedy-based videos, I was still getting emails talking about "fuck you, Iceman." I was still getting emails talking about "Iceman, you're full of shit. You're a blowhard. All you're doing is just sitting in front of your webcam and running your fucking mouth. Nobody wants to hear what you're saying." But yet these same people, whether paid or unpaid subscribers, keep coming back listening. And then a week later, they're listing another series of comments demonizing the Iceman Show. Talking about your show is bootylicious, your show sucks, but yet these people are still listening to me. So either these people are hypocrites or they're ventriloquists and other people, they're writing with other people's usernames. Something must be happening that doesn't make sense. Something's not adding up here. Just like I get people who will cancel their paid subscription, but then they'll and will talk shit and send me emails talking crazy to me, but then they'll go back around and listen to the free videos and make objective comments like nothing ever happened. So that right there will show you the ambivalence of some of these people. That some of these people must be confused or retarded or something. Because how can you sit here, some of the paid and unpaid video content, some of these videos are not that much off from content. So how can these people sit here and say that the paid videos are shit compared to the free ones, and they're sitting up here leaving positive comments about the free videos? So we're really not talking about the content of the paid videos and free videos. What the problem is that this person does not see the value of paying the $29.99 for a paid subscription. That's the fucking problem. It has nothing to do with the content. It's the fact that this person is not going to pay $29.99 to get their ass kicked. That's what the problem is. So this is the individual who's on my ass about making comedy videos, because they don't want to feel bad after they've listened to a paid video that they need to change their paradigm. They don't want to hear that. What they want to hear is me joking around about women washing their asses or not washing their asses. And my advice to you is all or nothing. Either you're down with the Iceman or you're not. I don't do middle of the road. I don't do middle ground. I don't do the gray area. Either you listen to me and you agree to disagree respectfully, or you agree. Or you don't listen and move on and not sit here and waste my time and your time. Because you look like a certified hypocrite when you sit up here, whether you're paid or not. That you sit here and listen to my videos, demonize me, character assassinate me, but then every video I post thereafter, you're listening to it. And in some cases, making positive assertions about the content of that particular video. That right there is showing your confusion. and your lack of discernibility. It's either all or nothing. You're going to be an Iceman Show family member, good or bad, or you're not. If you're a paid subscriber and you don't feel like the content is staying on focus, send me an email so I can make necessary changes. You have to understand something. I'm not perfect, but I strive to be. Will I ever get there? Probably not. But some of the negative attacks that some of the paid and non-paid subscribers have exacted upon me as the host of the Iceman Show, some of it's been unfair. Some of it's been fair. But some of it's been unfair. But the personal attacks and the character assassinations is totally uncalled for. I've had people send me messages like, yeah, fuck you, Iceman. I'm glad your wife is getting child support out of you. Dude, if you knew how much child support I pay on a monthly basis, you'd be like, man, that's damn near nothing. Okay? So when people make comments like that, or they say, ha ha ha, your ex-wife fucked you over, ha ha ha. My ex-wife didn't fuck me over. My ex-wife didn't get shit in a divorce. Everything was separated right down the middle. Because I made sure that I hid money. I hid money from her. There was a lot of stuff that was never accounted for on my divorce that I didn't reveal until after the ink dried on the divorce decree. Because she had no business getting any of that money. Okay? Just like she has no right to anything at this point. Because I'm not legally married to her sorry ass anymore. So when I get emails, guys attacking me, your ex-wife did this, that's just, dude, I'm not even going to entertain some bullshit like that. Because those guys are obviously lame ass, weak losers who can't talk to me at an intelligent level and deal with the objective facts instead of jumping down in the sewer and arguing like two ignorant niggas. I'm not going to do that anymore. And the guys that I've done that with the last couple of days, you will not receive any more emails from the Iceman. Because we as black men, and me as whether you consider me a leader or not, I am in a leadership capacity. And you have a choice whether to listen and change or not listen and stay the same. That's your choice. But the right you do not have is to try to poison the lot with other Iceman Show family members, or to come by and try to shit on the Iceman Show because you heard something you didn't like, or one of my videos put your bullshit out there on the street. You don't have the right to do that. You have the right to your subjective opinion. What you don't have is the right to attack me. So from now on, what I'm going to do is just delete your email once I see that it's some personal vitriol. Again, the Iceman Show has evolved into a platform of black empowerment and black people moving forward. That's what this show has evolved into. And all these other issues of the Iceman Show becoming the going into the direction of not being informative. I don't care if this show's not entertaining. Okay? Again, that's not the focus of the Iceman Show, is to make you laugh and entertain you. Now, I said this to my faithful paid subscribers. I said to them yesterday, I said, we're not always going to agree on everything. You're not always going to like what I say. But what I say is from the heart. And what is said on the Iceman Show is to help you move forward. Sometimes it's going to leave a nasty taste in your mouth. Sometimes you will get a chuckle or two. But to base this whole show on entertainment and comedy is a disservice to you. Now, I may have used comedy to get you to listen to the Iceman Show, to get you to come to the table. But now that you're here at the table, and now that I got your ear, now it is time for me to help you and help us move forward. Now it is time for us to move forward because now I got your attention. And those of you who are rebelling because you're personally offended that I'm no longer doing videos that are of a comic nature, or that these videos don't have the entertainment value that they used to have. You weren't listening to the Iceman Show for the right reasons anyway. I was going to lose you as a listener anyway, because you weren't listening for the right reasons anyway. Because even amongst all those comedy videos, you were still getting videos that discuss social issues, political, social, or economic issues that face us as black people. And we need to make a stand of some kind and move forward. So you can't sit here and totally say that the Iceman Show 2.5 years ago was all about comedy, because it wasn't. You just want to hear what you want to hear. And even though I may receive these emails of listeners complaining about the content of the show and making character assassinations and personal attacks upon the Iceman, I still get those emails mixed in with all of those emails from black men and very few black women who state to me that they appreciate my non-conforming methods, and that they realize or admit that it was because of my hardline stance on a lot of social issues are the reason why now they're in school, or they decided to get out of their auntie's attic or basement and stopped sleeping on their racing car bed, and now they're out looking for a job. Some have found jobs. They say, Ice, I haven't worked in 4 years because I got down on myself because I went to prison. I tried to sell that dope. I tried to ride down the interstate highway dirty with it. You know, I tried to ride dirty. I tried to ride down the highway with bricks in my trunk, and I got caught by the state trooper. And I did 2.5 years in the federal penitentiary. And now that I'm a felon, I can't find a decent job because I thought I could get a quick and easy and free ride through criminal activity. And as a result of that, I am now a convicted felon. I get emails from guys like that all the time talking about, Ice, you helped me see that even though I did something stupid 5 years ago and ended up going to prison and now I have a criminal record, I've been re-energized listening to your show, and now I'm in the process of starting my own business. Because you said a felon can still make it in America. Hey, Don King killed somebody, and look at him. There's plenty of felons, white, black, Hispanic felons out here who have committed crimes, paid their debt to society, and now these guys are successful businessmen. They're successful businessmen and women because they made a decision that they weren't going to be a victim and that the system owed them nothing. I'd like to say that I appreciate being a part of changing lives. That's what the Iceman Show is about. And what I don't want to do is go backward and character assassinate or personally attack any segment of our population. And if I have done that, I was wrong. But being that I see myself as a responsible human being and man, I admit my mistakes, and now I will make those necessary changes. What I'm asking you to do as black men and women is I am asking you to take that step forward. Whether you are an unpaid subscriber or just a fan of the show, or you happen to be an Iceman Show family member and paid subscriber, are you willing to go forward with me and move our race forward and get us to get out the strip clubs, stop tricking off our money, stop handing over $3 billion of our money every year to people outside of our community, of our neighborhood, because we don't have a community. In order to have a community, you have to have economic, political, and social control of your community. And we have none of those. And the reason why we have none of those is because we are still holding on to traditions and old wives' tales and superstitions and religious nonsense that we held on to during slavery. And the only way to shake the shackles of financial and mental slavery is to debunk all the myths and all the lies that they say about black men and women in the media, create black-owned businesses that black men and women and children can patronize, support those black men and women and help them create jobs for the rest of us. If I had 300 paid subscribers sign up today, I would be overwhelmed. But what I would do as a responsible business owner is to start emailing some of these subscribers who have been loyal to me for the past almost 4 years. And I will contact them and talk to them about working for me directly and creating content that would serve these additional 300 paid subscribers. Not only would you get a video from the Iceman, but you'd also get content from some of these other brilliant black men and women who have been faithful to me for the past 3.5 years. I can't do that without the money to pay these people, because you have to understand, some of these people are single moms and fathers who are of the responsible variety. And these men and women have jobs, they go to school, and they have responsibilities. So I'm not going to ask somebody to do something for free. I will pay them. That's what happens when you support a black-owned business. They then provide jobs to the rest of the black population. I'm not one of these black men who will open up a black-owned restaurant and I'll hire Sancho and them to work in there. I'm not one of those brothers. What I will do is hire black men and women who are going to work in there. And if they don't work out, then I'm going to terminate their employment and go out and get more black men and women, and hopefully get black men and women in there who will cook that food the way it's supposed to be cooked, so that I provide my customers with a delicious product that they will continue to come back for every day, or at least every week. People don't have a problem spending money if they're getting a good product and or service. What they're not going to pay for is for me to serve them bullshit and insult them. I'll give you an example. I'm a fan of the Arsenio Hall show. And those of you who live outside of America, you may or may not get the syndicated version of the Arsenio Hall show. If you ask me my subjective opinion of Arsenio Hall, I personally believe that he's rather simpish and a little too patronizing to non-blacks, whether it's people who are in the audience or his guests. I feel he's a little too patronizing. I record the Arsenio Hall show every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Because I try not to stay up late enough to watch it. So the next day I watch his show. And I have to say, there's at least 1 or 2 shows per week that are just downright awful. Here's what separates decent black people from asshole, hating ass, self-hating ass, hypocritical black people who are a detriment to our people. Even though there are guests and show segments and episodes of the Arsenio Hall show that I absolutely detest, overall, I am a staunch supporter of the Arsenio Hall show. Not just because I'm supposed to do that. It is because he is a black man who provides a good product on a weekly basis. And even though I don't particularly like some of his guests and some of the episodes of the Arsenio Hall show, overall, I support his show. Because that's the right thing to do. He is a black man trying to get his paper, and he's catering mainly to us. So the decent thing for you and I to do is tune in and support him with our eyeballs. You may not like the Iceman. You might not like some of the content of my videos and lectures. But you should understand that even though you're not man or woman enough to stomach what I talk about in these videos and lectures, have enough respect for your black people and have enough respect for yourself to shit on my show. Because the people who do get it, the people who are changed by the Iceman show, deserve more out of you than that. They deserve better than that. Those convicted felons and single moms and dusty brothers who have been changed by what I've said in these videos. You may have your job. You may have your career. You may have your education. You may have your business that you own that's successful. You cannot forget about the brother or sister who needs to hear this message, who has been changed by the content of the Iceman show. If you have enough respect for black people, yourself, as well as myself, as a black person, again, if you don't like the content, then don't listen to it. Because for you to continue to listen to the Iceman show, make negative comments and character assassinate me, makes you look like a hypocrite and a retard. Because what a sensible, sane person is going to say is, Iceman, why are these idiots still listening to your show if it's so bad? If it's so mean and disrespectful, why are these idiots still listening to you? it's obvious that they're finding some kind of value in the content of your show. So it really makes them look stupid rather than you. And you shouldn't lower yourself to get into an exchange with these people. And they're right. Because I have received those emails who say, Ice, don't lower yourself to their level. They want to sit up here and wade in sewer water while you're up here on the surface and we're up here trying to go forward just like you are. And here we got ignorant Negroes who want to stay in slave mode. And they're only angry at you because you're calling them out and they can't hide in plain sight and feel good about hiding in plain sight and being sorry and shiftless, lazy, and evil. So now that they have been exposed and the light has been cast upon them, now they want to get mad. Because they can no longer benefit from being entertained by the Iceman show and not walk away unscathed. Now they're feeling guilty about being shiftless, lazy, and good for nothing and a hater, and they don't want to be called on it. And now that you have exposed that, this is the guy that wastes God-given time typing up a message talking about how whack your show is, or talking about how they would never subscribe to your show and pay the $29.99 or pay the $15.99 for Iceman University, or pay $599.99 for a business plan. But Ice, remember this. These are the same low-life Negroes who will go out here and pay even more money to listen to a white man tell them a bunch of lies that won't even translate into helping them move forward in America as a black person. Or they may pay little or nothing to hear this white man give them useless information. But remember this, Ice. That's the mentality of a slave. He's willing to go to his oppressor and take his money to his oppressor and make his oppressor rich. And he can go home and go to sleep and get up the next morning and eat cornflakes and not feel bad. But Ice, you have to understand, these are the same people who will pay $29.99 and bitch every week about the content of your show. Because they thought they were going to get comedy routines each and every day. So as you can see, Iceman, these are the black people we need to leave behind. Because they're not concerned about getting viable information that's going to help them move forward, help their families move forward. What they want is entertainment. And let them go to their oppressor or other huckabuck, cooning Negroes on YouTube to get that. You're trying to establish a standard that most of these black men and women don't want to maintain on a daily basis because that's too hard. It's too hard for them to maintain any standards because America doesn't expect black men and women to maintain any kind of standards. And they find respite in that. They find peace and solace in that because that's what America expects from black people. And that's the easiest situation for them to live within. And for you, the Iceman, how dare you come along and tell them that they can do better than that? But they're not mad at you because you told them that they can do better, ICE. You're demanding that they do it. So after it's said and done, Mr. Iceman, the content is not the problem. It's the fact that you are demanding black men and black women to stand up on their own 2 feet, hold their chin up high, look the oppressor in the eye, and start being responsible for their own destiny. The problem lies with them and not you. And they are angry and outraged at the Iceman that this black man would have the audacity to demand that they stop huckabucking and cooning and consumer whoring and literally whoring and being tricks and simps. Flip this shit and be the responsible leaders of this planet that God originally designed for the black man, or the capacity for the black man and the black woman to fulfill. And the main reason why black men and black women are catching hell is because we have gone against God's plan for us. And we have collectively laid down and followed the customs and courtesies and took on the mentality of our oppressor. And now we're going to sit back 400 years later and complain as to why that's not working for us. So I pose to you today, black men and black women, if you want to receive the respect and the assistance from God that we used to have prior to the transatlantic slave trade, or basically us being tricked into following these cave people, is it really just about us not wanting to be responsible for our destiny and seeing the obvious that the Iceman is pointing out? Or are we going to sit here and be angry? Or you're going to sit there and be angry because I pointed out to you that following white Jesus and a phony pagan Christian and Catholic religions are not going to take us where we need to go. And because I said that, because I said to you black men to get out the strip clubs and stop tricking your money off on baby mamas who provide no benefit to you as a man, are you going to sit here and demonize me and attack me? Or are you going to get off your ass and start being responsible for your own destiny as well as our collective destiny? So I pose this question to you. Are you going to blame me for all of our problems, for pointing out those problems? Or are you going to stand up, stop being a pushover for the white man, stop sitting up here putting money in his pocket every day, but then complaining about how 97% of your income never comes back to the black community? We as black people at this time need to understand that these black children will not have anything to call their own if you and me don't start wasting 97% of our income outside our community. If we don't start practicing group economics, we are going to cease to exist. It's already happening. More and more black men and women are ending up dead and in prison. At some point, we need to get on the good foot and stop bullshitting. Somebody sent me an email about professional sports, and they asked me to make comments or further comments on this Donald Sterling NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, and NHL situation, and also the NCAA Division I sports. Let me just say this. I think it's appalling that young black men and women will go and play basketball, football, and baseball for the University of Alabama, Auburn, University of Georgia, University of LSU. It's mainly a lot of the SEC and ACC schools, Clemson. I'm appalled that these black men and women will go play sports for these colleges and make all those billions of dollars for the college and the NCAA, the slave master, will make all that money for these schools, and yet almost every week there's some racist scandal coming from one of these schools. If this week it's the University of Alabama, next week it's Ole Miss. If it's Ole Miss next week, the following week it's Vanderbilt or University of Tennessee. Now, the reason why I got a little bit more respect for the University of Texas is because, yeah, they got a lot of racial problems up there at that school, at the University of Texas at Austin. But at the same time, there's a lot of good stuff that they do, and a lot of those black athletes who play football, especially who play football, who have played football for the University of Texas at Austin. Most of them get good jobs. They also get a ring if they graduate from school. They get a ring that looks like a national championship ring. How do I know? Because I've met some of those guys when I lived in Austin, and even when I lived in San Antonio and commuted up to the University of Texas. I'm not saying that University of Oklahoma or some of the other Big 10 or Big 12 schools don't have racial problems, because they do. But they're not as pronounced as what you see coming out of Auburn University and University of Alabama and some of these other, and Clemson and some of these other schools. So the question I have for any black athletes or anybody who's listening: why are we playing football and basketball for these schools and they don't give a shit about us and they don't provide us with any value? These young brothers are willing to go play football for these racist ass schools and not even leave with a degree. Man, I'm going to play in the NFL. I'm playing the NBA. Really? Really, dude? You got it all figured out, huh? 9 times out of 10, none of these guys will make it to the NBA or NFL. But they're so dumb because they come out of these single female headed households where their dumbass mamas filled their heads full of bullshit, not telling them the reality is all you're basically going to get, because you're not very smart, you're not very academically inclined, all you're going to get is access to some nasty white pussy and some nasty black pussy, and that's it. Because you're going to be so focused on trying to play football that you're not going to care about getting a degree from a prestigious university. What you're going to do is be focused on getting ass, because that's what mama said do. So these young brothers make millions of dollars for these schools and leave without a degree because they got hurt, or they were just ignorant and got kicked off the team, or whatever. And even the ones who do make it to the NFL, look at how they end up. Somebody made a really great comment that I heard last week. And they said, you know, if all those brothers that play in the NFL, the NBA, decided to put their money together, they could buy a few of those professional teams. Magic is a minority owner of the LA Dodgers. There probably are several other black minority owners of Major League Baseball teams, but they don't usually talk about these guys because their investment isn't that great. They don't own that much of the team. They don't own enough of the team for it to be newsworthy. And then we have Michael Jordan, who is the majority owner of the Charlotte Bobcats, which we all know is arguably one of the worst teams in the NBA. It is safe to say, after these few years, that Robert Johnson and now Michael Jordan owns the Charlotte Bobcats, that this franchise is not well managed. It is obvious to anyone looking and listening that maybe Michael Jordan don't know what the hell he's doing. And one of the criticisms that I have heard, one coming from Charles Barkley, is that Michael Jordan has a bunch of yes men working for him who are not leaders. And instead of them coming in there telling Michael Jordan the truth and trying to build a franchise that's going to win and possibly hire a head coach that can make them win, Michael Jordan is just acting like a rich dude who doesn't know what he's doing. I'm not saying that they need to force Michael Jordan to sell his team. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that hopefully Michael Jordan will shake up the management of his team and get people over there who are going to not be yes men, but be men and women who are going to properly manage his franchise so that they can be successful on the court and off the court. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I guarantee if I had the opportunity to get in front of Michael Jordan and talk to him man to man, that's what I would tell him, regardless of whether or not he liked to hear that or not. But the question was raised, how come these young black men get in the NFL, NBA, and they don't pool their resources to buy wealth? That's because most of these young brothers who go into the NBA and the NFL come out of female-headed households, by hateful black women, who don't raise these young men to be leaders. What they have raised these guys to be is tricks and simps who value boats and hoes over building wealth. So that's why it's so easy for these young men to have ignorant strippers and other common whores trick them out of their money. That's why it's so easy for them to do that. It's easy for a $2 stripper or another $2 whore to trick these guys who are making millions of dollars, if not millions or hundreds of thousands, out of their money and put them on $20,000 a month child support. The reason why Terrell Owens is where he is today is because he had boats and hoes on his brain and not building wealth. And when all the money ran out, he got exposed for the dumb, ignorant simp and trick that he always has been. And that's why it's so easy for common, non-black, and black, nasty ass, hateful, evil, narcissistic minded females to get in these guys' pocket, get in his pocket and other people, and other NFL, NBA players. These guys don't know, nor do they respect wealth building. These guys don't even listen to their own business management or their attorneys. These guys have a business management team as well as a legal team, and they're not listening to them. They're not listening to them. So what makes you think they'd listen to me or you? It makes sense. These are the same idiots who have all these advisors around them, and they still go out here and make poor choices. And end up like Vince Young. Make all that money and end up with an empty wallet. Okay? That might be hard for you to understand, but it's not hard for me to understand. You know why it's not hard for me to understand? Because I understand where these guys, the households these guys come out of. So it's not lost on me how Adrian Peterson, the running back for the Minnesota Vikings, it's not hard for me to understand how he has 6 or 7 different baby mamas. It's not hard for me to understand. Because that's what he's been raised to do. Be a fucking idiot. And he's doing exactly what his mama taught him to do. Whether it was implied or not. So I say to you today, if you want to see black ignorance at its highest at its highest form, you really don't have to look any further than these professional athletes. They are the model of what not to do. And if you don't learn anything from me, look at them and learn. If nothing else, you'll learn what not to do. You got guys like Andre Rison, they don't have any money left. It's obvious these guys don't have no talent at doing anything else. So what do they end up doing? Just wasting away. Maybe they are at the mercy and charity of other or current or more successful former NFL players. But it's sad that these guys like Andre Rison and Terrell Owens and other guys have left their future up to chance. These black children deserve better out of us. And the time has come, or actually it's passed, for black men to be the example of what manhood is supposed to be. Pull your pants up, stop showing everybody your drawers, pool your financial resources and start building businesses. And after you start your business, encourage black women and black children to support you. Because let me explain something to you. There's always going to be black women who are going to try to sabotage what you try to do. There's nothing you can do about that. But what you can do is move forward and ignore those people and walk over them. Because you have to understand something. All the narcissistic, selfish, nasty black women and black men who are out here hating on you and me, those people are in the sewer. Those people are at a lower point than you are on the social food chain. And the only way for you to continue to make progress is for you to step over those folks and keep it moving. And not even acknowledge that you stepped over dog shit. Now, again, the Iceman Show is not here to put anybody down. But at the same time, I'm not here to kiss nobody's ass and make you and stroke your ego and make you feel good because I said something in a video that hurt your feelings. That comes with the territory, dog. But either you're going to be down with the Iceman family or you're not. There's no gray area and there's no middle ground. Either you love me or hate me. And if you hate me, get the fuck out of the way. Group economics starts today. If it hasn't started already with you, it starts today. Are we going to take this leap of faith together? Or are we going to sit here and argue about dumb shit that don't have shit to do with black people moving forward? At the end of the day, these kids are looking at you and me and they're counting on you and me. And if we're sitting here wading in sewer water, chest high sewer water, and not making any progress, we will cease to exist. And these black children are going to see failure in progress, and they're going to be failures just like we are if we don't get up off our asses and stop the bullshit. But you're either for me or you're against me. If you're against me, stop listening to me. That way you don't waste time complaining. Because in my opinion, it's a waste of your time to even come by and listen and then complain. But it's obvious you have some kind of contempt that is subjective and not objective. Which means that if you're operating on a personal level complaining, you're not even listening to you're not really even paying attention to anything. What you're doing is being an asshole. And I don't have any more time for it. Either black men stop being clowns and coons and buffoons today, or we cease to exist tomorrow. You tuned into the Iceman Show. I'm your host, the Iceman. Go by AskTheIceman.com and see and check out some of our new initiatives for the inner city. We got to start raising money to fund programs that uplift black people, that create urban gardens, tear down abandoned buildings and houses, and allow contractors to come in and build new residential and commercial properties that serve black communities. That's something I want to do, starting with Detroit. Now, I've gotten a lot of negative feedback. A lot of brothers and sisters been talking about fuck Detroit. You know, why would you want to go to Detroit and help them niggas out and all that? Look, man, that's self-hate talking, brother. Detroit is a perfect place to start. So go by AskTheIceman.com and check us out. You tune into the Iceman Show. I'm your host, the Iceman. We got to get it together, brothers. Holler at your boy.